And Caleb, go with the theme song.
There's not a theme song yet.
Alright, well that was awful.
That was atrocious.
Anyway, welcome to the But That's Okay podcast. This is episode 3. I hope everyone's excited about it. I know I am. My name is Zach. To my left is
Caleb.
And to my right is
Joe.
Yep. The same trio, back again.
Back at it again.
Back at it. Back.
Band.
I would say back in the saddle again, but we're not, we're sitting in chairs. Anyway, so same layout as always. We got topics that we're going to discuss. We have a little bit of a different format this week that we're just trying out. We think it'll be fun. We hope it makes it a little bit more entertaining. And maybe it won't, but you're going to be the ones to find out because, I like what we're doing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This is fun.
Yeah, this is fun.
We're trying something new, and we're seeing where it goes. So, yeah. We're just going to go ahead and start things off by going ahead and asking Mr. Zach Burton over here, who is the hero of our Episode 2 podcast, Mr. Halloween fandom himself.
Oh, thank you.
Zach, we're going to talk about what you are extremely passionate about and what everyone's extremely passionate about on Sundays, which is
football.
We've got a different sort of what's what I'm looking for, diversity as far as fans go. You got Zach Burton over here who's very passionate about his Miami Dolphins, and then Caleb and you're a Titans fan, and I'm just sort of I used to be a Pats fan. I love Green Bay. We all have our different things, but what's a big hot topic right now is the Miami Dolphins from Mr. Zach Burton. And why don't you enlighten us, Zach, on how that came about?
Yeah, I'll tell you how it came about is freaking the head coach decided that he was going to punish the team by sending the best dadgum player we have to the Philadelphia Eagles, who are the best dadgum team in the league, because, what kind of punishment is that? You literally, so the deal is, Jay, the star running back of the Miami Dolphins, got traded from the Miami Dolphins to the Philadelphia Eagles.
And they're going on a Super Bowl run.
They're going on a
Super Bowl. Total intentions.
Yeah. Because, now, here's the reasoning why. The reasoning why is because Jay has not been having a good season, at all. Compared to last season.
Not his fault.
Right, I'm getting there. But, compared to last season, he had, 3 200-yard-plus games, really just, busted out on the scene. He was, a top 5, I think, running back in the NFL.
Yep.
In this season, he's been struggling. Didn't score a single touchdown with the Miami Dolphins or anything like that, and had a really atrocious game on, Thursday night?
Yep.
Against the Baltimore Ravens. The Dolphins got blown out 40-0, and Adam Gase comes out, and I'm paraphrasing in a very angry fan way, but essentially comes out and says, Jay was not producing, and to be on my team, you have to produce. So he traded him away for a second or fourth round draft pick, which is unfreaking believable that he did that. Because first of all, how dare you? Second of all, how can you expect Jay to run the ball when 4 out of the 5 linemen are backups? They're not even the starters. How are you going to do that?
Not even that. You lose Ryan Tannehill in the preseason, and immediately everyone that plays the Dolphins go, you think they're going to run the ball?
Yeah,
you think they're going to run the ball.
Do you think they're going to pass all the time? No.
We're going to overload the box. And if, as a running back, it's almost impossible to have no quarterback threat because Jay Cutler is not a quarterback. You can't just say, oh, don't worry, guys, I'll put the team on my back every single week, in and out.
And that's another one. That's another one that'll get me steamed real quick. So last season was Adam Gase's first season as the Miami Dolphins head coach, and came in, cleaned house, because the Dolphins were an absolute garbage fire team at the beginning of the season. Came in, cleaned house, was like, look, if you're going to play on my team, you're going to play every down 100% of the time. You're going to execute. Mm-hmm. And they ended up letting go of a bunch of people. Starters became backups, went to the practice squad. Practice squad came up to starters. Completely rearranged things.
It was a learning season for the Dolphins for sure. They learned a lot about themselves.
Yeah, not only was it a learning season, they performed very well. Mm-hmm. They made a playoff run. Now they got knocked out in the first round, but coming from a team that
Tannehill.
Yeah.
Rip Tannehill.
Rip Tannehill, yeah. But coming from a team that had no aspirations of making a playoff run to making the playoffs, especially with the backup quarterback leading the last 3 or 4 games of the season, it was impressive. Like, all the Miami fans rejoiced. They were like, hey, we're relevant again. And then this season starts, and we're in the preseason, and we're like, oh, man, we got Ryan Tannehill, we got Jay Ajayi, we got Jarvis Landry, we got Devontae Parker, Kenny Stills. You know, our offense on paper was a top 5 NFL offense. Like, there was zero reason that we should not be a deep playoff run contender. And then Ryan Tannehill tears his ACL in the preseason, and we all just wanted to cry. And we were like, but you know what? It's okay. It's okay. We got Matt Moore in it backup, and we already know he can, like, win those clutch games. He can get us to the playoffs if it need to be. But then Adam Gase is like, nah, I got an idea for y'all. Are y'all ready for this?
Yep.
I'm going to go get us a better quarterback than Matt Moore. And everybody's like, you better than Matt Moore? And he's like, yeah, it's someone that I've coached before. And when I coached him, he had his best season statistically ever. And we were like, what do you mean? He's like, this guy's not even in the league right now. He's retired. And all the Miami Dolphins fans were like, sweet Mary Mama, we're going to have Peyton the Man Manning throwing the ball in Miami. And he's like, nah, better than Peyton Manning. We're going to go get the one, the only, Smoking Jay Cutler.
Oh man, he's expecting all this applause, but you know what he gets? He gets a what?
We want more. We want more.
Yeah. So we get Jay Cutler, and we're like, what? Why? Like, you're supposed to be making the team better, but you're making the team worse by literally going and getting a quarterback who retired because no one would start him.
Yep.
And you went and got him out of retirement. Shoot, I would have taken broken back Tony Romo over Jay Cutler.
Colin Kaepernick, maybe.
Yeah, I would take Colin Kaepernick. I have a laundry list of names that I would take over Jay Cutler. But no, we took Jay Cutler and we're like, you know what? Maybe Adam Gase knows what he's doing. You know, he's the quarterback whisperer. You know, like, we'll give him this one. You know, you got to make hard decisions as a head coach.
Right. All of Miami collectively held their breath for a second, right?
Yes.
Everyone went, okay.
And we started, you know, we've had a rough season. We've won some games. We've lost some games. But most of all, we've only won games because the other team sort of chose to lose those games. You know, we haven't really outright won a game yet. And then he goes and does this, where he trades Jay Ajayi, which I'm going to take a moment and put myself in his shoes, Jay's shoes, because imagine this. Like, imagine that you are a lead running back in the NFL, right? And you go out on a Thursday night and you do your best and you get just absolutely thrashed, stomped. Your head coach comes out and says, I have the worst offense in the NFL. We're the worst team. We can't pass. We can't run. We can't do all of this. And you go to sleep that night and you're feeling like garbage. I'm on the worst team in the NFL. I can't do anything. You wake up the next morning and you went from being on a team that's the worst team in the NFL to being like on the team that everybody's like, they're going to the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
And you didn't have to do anything. Like, you literally had to perform worse than you did last year, and you got upgraded.
Yep. JJ kind of hit the lotto on that one.
Can I ask like a in-depth question you might not know? Did Philadelphia, when they were traded Jay Ajayi, did they take all of his contract obligations by getting him in
I
Philadelphia?
have no idea.
I would have thought they would have had to have.
Well, Philadelphia has a lot of expensive players on their roster. And even though Philadelphia is a great team, I think that the support for Philadelphia has only just recently gone up compared to every other year since like 2004. They've been just a team that you're like, there goes the Eagles again, not winning anything or just barely scraping by with a 500 record.
Same could be said about the Rams. The Rams are relevant for the first time in
decades.
And they're bajillion LA teams now, so you gotta just like their support is just kind of a we have an attractive head coach and he's doing really well.
Guy.
And then you have the defense of the LA Rams, which is like looking to be one of the best defenses in the NFL right now. They have a good basis there, but for Miami, you've traded away Jay Ajayi, who was this guy who was looked at as a star in Miami of a very bleak team the season before, like the 2 seasons ago, that was like, this team is a dumpster fire, and then they trade everything out, they get everything, they're trying to get the ball rolling again, and you trade away Jay. Like, for what? A second-round draft pick.
Yeah.
Are you really investing for the future in a second-round draft pick when you could have invested in a guy who basically saved the season for you last season?
Right.
You know, maybe there's something they know that we don't know. Maybe Jay was having some issues internally with the team. I don't know if he's a very prideful kind of guy.
Yeah, I mean...
but just hearing that he was traded for something that's so, in my opinion, lackluster as a draft pick, and you're not even getting anybody in return, and as far as I'm concerned, the other Miami running backs are not stars at all. They are, at most, maybe like your middle of the pack kind of running backs.
Right.
Why would you do such a thing? Why would you tear down something that was so well built up in the first season? You have one bad game, and even then his season wasn't great, but it was good. Like, he was doing okay. He was getting yardage.
Yeah.
He just wasn't getting any touchdowns. But like, you could always count on Jay getting a bunch of carries because he could do it. They could give him the ball, and he'd get him some yards sometimes. You know, just I don't know. I don't know what it was. What it was that for a struggling team like Miami to get rid of something that was so well established as Jay, why would you do that?
I don't know.
It seems like they can't find their footing, and that the only way they can find their footing now is to say, let's tear down something we just built up in 1 year and build it back up again. Oh wait, that doesn't work anymore. Let's tear it down and build it back up again. Tear it down, build it back up again. Why not just continue to invest in this one guy? Because I think everyone in the NFL can admit that Jay has talent.
Oh, yeah.
Philadelphia does not take Jay and go, oh, yeah, we're going to sit him. No, they're going to start him. They're going to put him in there.
69-yard rushing game.
Literally his first touch in Philadelphia today, 69-yard touchdown.
You're kidding.
I'm dead serious. Like, first touchdown of the year, 69-yard touchdown, and then, like, he still got, like, 6 more carries on top of that. And that's a crowded backfield with Wendell Smallwood, LeGarrette Blount. I mean, he's not going to be the featured back like he was in Miami, but he immediately produces better. And it's because the team around him is better.
Yeah. How can you
know how stoked Philadelphia was to find out they were getting Jay? I mean, the backfield was probably upset about it, but that offensive line is like, oh, hey, guess what?
But they didn't have a workhorse back. I mean, LeGarrette Blount is, he is short yardage and goal line work. Wendell Smallwood's a pass catcher. And Jay is just a workhorse all around.
He's just
great
a complimentary back. He can do everything.
You can almost see Philadelphia becoming the New England Patriots of the NFC. Can you not?
If they continue to like build that team like they are, I mean, Carson Wentz, he's not going anywhere. His second year in the NFL. He's having a phenomenal year. Best tight end in the league.
Your offensive line is doing amazing at protecting your quarterback. I mean, not only that, your fan base, the Philadelphia Eagles fan base, is just only getting bigger now. People are just loving it. Yeah.
It's deep. I mean, those are dedicated fans.
And like we can talk. That's another topic you can talk about all day. Is how Philadelphia is really bringing it up. But just in general, let's just real quick go back to the frustrating question of why. I think let's try and understand it even more from his point of view, right? Is he only building up a team for the future, and he just continues to look at it as like, if in the future things will be better, in the future things will be better? Why do you think he did that other than weathering the storm with Jay? You mentioned the backup offensive lineman. Why not just weather the storm of this season and then try and get him better line next year?
See, I don't know. The thing that sticks out to me is sort of the train of thought of it worked before. So when he first got to Miami, he immediately cleaned house. Like, there were people who were not producing, and he was like, just because you're the starter doesn't mean you get to have a job, and cleaned house. And he immediately saw results from it. So it makes me think of, like, the old saying, success is a lousy teacher. He thought, oh, this will work again. He's not producing, so I'm just going to get rid of him.
I think, on top of that, okay, at this point, do the Dolphins win another game this year?
The Dolphins have an incredibly tough schedule.
I was going to say...
yes, I think they do.
They're definitely going to finish low in their division. But they're going to get a high draft pick because of where they finished this year. Anyways, gaining that draft pick, they've already got more if they don't want to... Actually, scratch that. They have Tannehill coming back next year. They already have a decent receiving core. They already have an okay defense. take those 2 draft picks, get you another stud rookie running back, or pick up somebody off the free agency. They're not doing. I think it was more or less he was just like, J.J. thinks he's the only running back in the NFL, and I think it was stupid to get rid of him, but I think he's just saying, you know what, I will show you you're not. Yeah. Granted, it worked out for J.J. because he's going to the greatest team playing right now.
Right.
But I think they're doing a lot of what the Colts are doing. I think with Andrew Luck, whenever he had that surgery, he was supposed to have a 9-month recovery. He could have been playing right now, but the head coach or the new manager was just kind of like, this isn't my coaching staff. This isn't what I wanted at all. Andrew Luck's not going to play, so we're going to completely rebuild the team around him. We're going to trade Jacoby Brissett for a higher draft pick later on, and I'm going to build a team around Andrew Luck. I think they're going to try and do the same thing for Tannehill.
So you think they've just literally scrapped this season?
I think so.
They've literally scrapped it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, here's the rest of the Miami Dolphins schedule, and you tell me which games they win. So we're recording on Sunday. Tomorrow night is Monday Night Football, and they have. Oh, I'm sorry. The Dolphins actually play tonight. They play the Raiders tonight.
Yeah. I don't see them winning.
Are they at the Raiders?
They're in Miami.
I think that'll be close. I think it all depends on if Derek Carr decides to really get going. But
right.
I think the odds are about 6-4, maybe 7-3 Oakland.
Yeah. Well, the Raiders have been pretty garbo.
They have.
Derek Carr has fallen from grace. Amari Cooper finally is getting his stuff together.
Right.
Michael Crabtree's been consistent, but that backfield's an absolute mess with Marshawn Lynch and everyone else. So, in my opinion, that game is the second most possible for them to win.
Do you give them the odds to win it, though?
I give them the odds to win it just based off of like the analysts that I've listened to and all this other stuff. You know, Jay Cutler's coming back. He's going to be fully healthy. They just got rid of J.J., so there's a ton of emotion in that locker room, especially with Kenyon Drake and Damian Williams, the backups. Mm-hmm. You know, so I think they'll put up a fight. I think they can win that game. Okay. After that, they got the Carolina Panthers at Carolina. I think they get smoked.
I was going to say, they beat Atlanta today. They're on fire.
Well, Atlanta has been struggling, to be fair. But yes, Carolina's...
Yeah.
Carolina is Carolina. You can't really... you can't... going at Carolina makes it all the more difficult. Right. No team, and even the Eagles would say, do you want to go to face Carolina in Carolina? They'd say, no way.
Right.
And no one wants to do that.
Yeah, well, I mean, Atlanta couldn't beat them today. Yeah. And they were in Carolina. Yeah. After Carolina, they have Tampa Bay. I think they can beat Tampa Bay because Tampa Bay is just as much a mess as Miami. Uh-huh. Now, the last 6 games of the regular season, this is where it blows my mind. Here's where it goes. Real quick. Patriots?
Nope.
Broncos?
Nope.
Patriots?
No.
Bills?
Maybe.
Chiefs? Bills.
Chiefs and
Bills. Out of their last 6 games, 4 of the 6 games are divisional opponents who are leaps and bounds better than they are.
Mm-hmm, right.
I mean, the Patriots are going to win that division hands down. There's no contest there. The Bills and the Jets will tussle, but I mean, the Dolphins have already played the Jets twice. They've won once, lost once. I don't see, unless Miami just figures it out, the Miami team right now wins 2 of the next 8 games. So
then you're putting yourself in the coach's shoes right now. You think to yourself, these last 6 games, bar none, our odds are probably 9.5 to a half that we're gonna have to win. We're gonna have to win all 6 of these to make it to the playoffs,
right? And
we're just not gonna be able to do that. So trade away Jay and make yourself a better team for next year. I can see that, but I can't see that because I just think I'm of the personal opinion Jay was very talented, and when you're a struggling team and there's so little talent that you have, you need to hold on to it, not immediately let it go. Because what if Jay turned on the Rockets at the end of the season like he did the other season,
right?
Or what if Jarvis Landry gets hurt, or bar none, like just what if something else happens to the team? Who are you going to turn to?
Exactly.
Who's the next leader in Miami?
And see, everybody wants to say Ryan Tannehill is. And Ryan Tannehill might be the leader in that locker room, which I don't think he is. Mm-hmm. But he's not a great quarterback. He's a good quarterback. He's good enough to be in the NFL. But, I mean, when you sit down and think of, like, who are the great quarterbacks in the NFL right now?
Those are they.
Ryan Tannehill will not break the top 20.
Mm-hmm.
He just won't. Even like out of just starters, no backups, no nothing, current quarterbacks in the NFL, he's not going to break the top 20. In my opinion, I would go into this draft, I'd be looking at who's my quarterback of the future. Because Ryan Tannehill's not a spring chicken. He's not old. He's not, he's not Tom Brady, but he's been in the league for a while now. So with the volatility that the Miami Dolphins is right now, I want to see them go get an all-star,
rookie,
top-tier rookie quarterback.
Yep.
Bench him for 2 to 3 years. Let him watch Ryan Tannehill work, or let him watch whomever work, and then start building on those assets. Get him some good receivers. Get a strong running back. Make sure that his offensive line is stacked up. Start planning on building this team for 3 years down the road.
And we've got 2 or 3 Heisman hopeful quarterbacks graduating this year. So
right.
That very well could be what that draft pick goes to.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion, I think that's what they should do. I think you can pick up running backs that are good, and they may already have 2 running backs that are good. We'll find out tonight. But I think you have to have a quarterback that is sound at least, and I don't think Jay Cutler is that.
Oh, absolutely.
And what is the best thing to have 3 years down the road other than a veteran running back named Jay Ajayi to help out your quarterback, to take pressure off your quarterback?
Well, Miami's made stupid decisions like this for years now. I mean, originally Lamar Miller was the starting running back in Miami, and they were like, forget this kid, send him to Houston. That season was Lamar Miller's, one of his best seasons was when he went from Miami to Houston. And now they've done the same thing with J.J. I guarantee you, J.J. is going to have just the half season of a lifetime. Now that he's in, behind an offensive line that can block, he's in a system that functions and works correctly. Mm-hmm. It seems like that the Dolphins have no idea what they're doing when they're on the field. Like, when you watch them play, Jay Cutler throws more balls at the ground than he does in the air. It doesn't seem like there's much of a team effort going on both sides of the ball, offense and defense.
Well, I don't think Jay Cutler is playing for the Miami Dolphins. He's playing for himself because I don't think he came out of retirement because he's like, I always want to play for the Dolphins.
No.
It's like, hey, you guys are going to pay me. I will force myself to get hit many times, and I'll just keep tossing the ball up. And, hey, picks or not, you guys still have to pay me. Oh, well.
Do you think Jay Cutler even has the potential to carry a team like the Dolphins?
Absolutely not.
He's done it before. I don't think he can do it anymore.
Mm-hmm. I think whenever he was on Denver, he had a better team to work with. I forget the running back that they had, or if they had the most stellar defense like they do this year.
Right.
But whenever you looked at Denver, you didn't immediately think of Jay Cutler whenever he was the big quarterback in Denver. You mostly just thought of Denver as a whole as a better team than a lot of other teams.
Yeah.
Jay Cutler's not going to be any Tom Brady for Miami, and that's unfortunate to say, but it's a struggling team that is trying to bring back old talent, and it's just not going to happen. I'm sorry. It's just not going to happen. That is our passionate topic of the day, if you must say.
So besides Miami, is there anything you'd like to add about football?
Well, actually, that wasn't what I wanted to talk about, but I'm glad we did because I got to get on my soapbox and talk about how the Miami Dolphins are struggling right now, but the Miami Dolphins forever and for always will still be the best team in NFL history for one reason, and that is because the Miami Dolphins are still the only team in NFL history to have a perfect season.
Oh, come on.
Win all the regular season, win all their playoff games, go to the Super Bowl, and win that puppy.
We're talking.
Cry me a river.
We're talking leather helmets.
I'm not crying a river. I'm hoisting up a trophy of bragging rights and pride that says, New England Patriots, how many perfect seasons have you had?
Almost
and thank you, Eli Manning.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say to that.
Hey, you know what?
Correct.
You know what Tom Brady would do to you is as he's walking away from you, he's going to say bye with 5 of his rings on his fingers.
Correct.
So I'm just saying.
And as he was walking by, I'll tell him, you're welcome for those because I'm the one who's paying for all that crap.
So what did you want to talk about other than
So my original topic was going to be the three of us are in a fantasy football league together, and I love fantasy football for several different reasons. But the topic was going to be the difference between casual football fans and people who play fantasy football fans. Because I've only played fantasy football for 2 years now, and I've always loved football because it's always been like the Sunday tradition of you go to church, you come home, you have lunch, and then you watch football. You know, you got your 1 o'clock games, 4 o'clock games, and then you have Sunday night football, Monday night, Thursday night, like all of it. Like that's the thing you do. Baseball may be America's pastime, but football is America's sport. And that's just been a huge part of my life is we always watch football, and I've always loved football. And I'm obviously a diehard Miami Dolphins fan, but it doesn't matter who's playing. Like, I will watch anybody play football just because I love the sport that much. I enjoy it thoroughly. But now that I've been into the fantasy football aspect of things, I have a much greater appreciation for football as a whole, because just being a casual football fan, you know, you relate with your team, your city's pride or whatever. Like Miami Dolphins, like I might know 3 or 4 players on the Miami Dolphins, but, you know, I won't know anything about any of the other teams in the NFL. But being into fantasy football, it forces you to learn about all aspects of football. You know, it teaches you about all the positions, their flexibilities, the things that hinder them, all the players, all the teams, the strengths, the weaknesses, which teams like to run the ball, which teams like to pass the ball, which teams have the strong defenses, weak defenses, good special teams, bad special teams, all that stuff. And it's really, really neat to sort of have like your own football IQ expanded just for the sake of like, hey, I want to beat Joe this week in fantasy football. But sort of the catch-22 to that is when, you know, like the Miami Dolphins are playing the Oakland Raiders, and I got Michael Crabtree on my team, and I want the Dolphins to win so bad I can't stand it, but I'm hoping it's a complete shootout, and it's like
75-74 Dolphins.
Yeah, exactly. That way Michael Crabtree gets 38 points, but as long as the Miami Dolphins win, that's fine. So, what do you think? Like, it's just like, it's a very weird disconnect once you really get into the fantasy football, because you sort of lose that, you know, loyalty almost to your team.
Well, I think the answer to that problem is do what I did and only draft Titans players.
Gosh dang
it.
Yeah,
It helps. You don't feel so bad about cheering for the other team.
Yeah. Just remember when the bye week comes up, your team is like, okay, we'll take the L.
See, I had 7 players on a bye week. I still won that week, miraculously. Also, I would like to have Zach go ahead and reveal to the world how our fantasy league is doing.
No.
No, how it doesn't.
Well, Joe.
Okay, so here's how our fantasy league is doing. I am the commissioner of our fantasy league.
Correct.
And for history's sake, last season I started out 13-0 before I ever lost a game.
Just like the Dolphins.
Anyway, 13-0 before I ever lost a game. I was killing it. Everybody was like, oh, dang, you got to play Zach this week. And it's like, that's right, you got to play Zach this week because he knows football better than everyone else. We get to the first round of the playoffs. I immediately lose. So I go from literally first place to 8th, just like in a moment. And it was bull crap because Joe got some help from his buddy Steven and colluded against me to make sure Joe beat me that week, which is but that's neither here nor there. So this season, Zach has fallen from grace even harder because instead of going 13-0, I'm currently sitting at 4-4. But
as well as Joe. Joe is also 4-4.
After this week, Joe and I are both going to be at 5-4, so everything's going to be okay.
I really hope so.
And I will be 7-2.
And Caleb's going to lose the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah.
Finally.
Let's let tradition continue.
Except I will have a bye.
Yeah,
okay.
Titans
Whatever.
Another bye week just that week.
I hope you lose so you're not in the bye.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
As far as the answer to the question of reinvigorating how much fun football is, I think your perspective is very interesting. I think from mine it's a little different. It's just from I slowly stopped watching football. I used to have so much free time as a kid just to sit down and watch football all day, and now I just don't really. It's like the last thing that's on my mind until I went into fantasy football. Like, it's actually fun to sit and plan out what your weekend's going to look like while you're facing off against different people and then you sit down for a second and you look at the scores. Like, for me, I don't have a TV that I can always turn on and just watch football on, but you better believe every 20 minutes I'm checking my phone to see how my fantasy team's doing.
Yeah.
And I'm also looking at the live stats, the live feed of whatever's going on, and it really has made football more enjoyable for me. Because I used to just not be able to, because football was such a time commitment for me, where you'd have to sit down for 4 hours and watch a game and then sit down for another 4 hours and watch another game. It took up your whole day. Sure, some people can enjoy that. For me, I don't know if it's that I get bored easily or it's that I just slowly drifted away from sitting down and watching it all day. But now that I'm able to have a reason to go back and just at least look every hour or so at how the league's doing or how I'm doing, that's awesome to me. I missed being able to put this much effort into something like the NFL.
Yeah.
It was so much fun. I remember it reminds me of how I was when I was a kid and how you feel right now, how you could watch any team whatsoever and have a good time. I can look at the stats of any game that's going on right now and know that, even though I have no players in this league, I know that Caleb's facing off against this person and Caleb's killing it right now, or the other way around, Caleb's getting shreked right now.
Yep.
Right.
And it's so much fun to me, and I couldn't be happier with how fantasy is going this year.
See,
It's so much better.
a couple of years ago, did not watch football at all, mainly because I would turn it on just to see that the Titans got beat by 45 points, and I was like, great. Awesome. But Titans got a little bit better, and then I started doing fantasy, and like you guys said, football IQ expands greatly whenever it's just like, hey, I'm going to watch every game this week. I don't know. I don't think I've missed a single game other than when I'm at work for a Thursday night game.
Yeah.
This season, I think I've watched every single football game.
Wow.
Kind of sad. But not really. Like, I've enjoyed it just because even if I don't have a player playing, it's like, I can check and see who else is losing or winning and make sure nobody's chasing me too closely or whatever it may be.
So for Caleb and I, it's reinvigorated that fire
Yes.
that's happened. with
Zach
the
has
NFL.
always been the Mondo fan. Me and Joe are getting there.
Yeah.
I don't know if we'll ever be to Zach's status.
Right.
I used to live the Zach status life as a kid, but I just can't really get into it as much anymore.
I think what does it is, do you have a NFL jersey?
I do, but it's too small for me now.
What is it? No, important question. What is it?
Oh, God.
Is it Brady?
What is it?
Is it Rodgers?
It's a Brady jersey.
It's
Oh,
Brady.
it's okay. I have a Tom Brady game jersey signed by Tom Brady. If it makes you feel
Ooh,
better.
do you really?
I do. I don't know where it is because I hate it. But
Oh.
no. So one year for Christmas, my dad was like, "Hey, your uncle wants to get you a jersey. What jersey do you want? You know, he wants to get you a football jersey." And it was like when Michael Vick just came on the scene. I was like, "I want a Michael Vick home jersey." And he's like, "Cool." And tells him, and Christmas Day comes, and I get a signed Tom Brady jersey. I'm like,
St. Mike Vick.
so I know that Tom Brady and Michael Vick are
Very
like
similar
twins.
looking.
Twins.
Very
It's
similar.
uncanny how similar they look. Their teams look. Their jerseys.
Their
are like,
gameplay
oh,
style even.
Their bark
Yeah.
is better than their bite.
Okay. All right.
Joe.
Gosh darn, Joe. Dang it.
Anyway, jersey.
So I have a Tom Brady jersey that I never wanted. I also have a Ryan Tannehill jersey, a Jarvis Landry jersey, and what is his name?
Isn't there a tear on the Ryan Tannehill jersey?
A tear on it?
Yeah, like in the knee.
Oh, shut up! Y'all are wearing me. Oh. Gosh, dang it.
Well played, Mr.
Rest in peace to
Mr.
Sean
Oh.
Watson.
Yeah, whatever.
Jeez. Sorry.
Okay.
I'm done talking about football with you guys. Y'all are mean.
Sorry about that. Had to take a little break. We were all kind of dying laughing for another
Just
20
touch.
minutes. Yeah, it was kind of hard for us to focus.
I just want you
But-
to know that 2 out of 3 is not all. That's 2/3 of us were dying laughing.
Okay. Yeah, Caleb and I had to take a break.
Yeah,
We'll go ahead and
take a
compromise
break.
with that one. So we're going to go ahead and transition into more NFL talk, but this one is the big topic that everyone always tries predicting. Analysts will go back and forth as to what's going to happen in this regard. From a bunch of just nonchalant NFL fans, guys, who's going to make it in the Super Bowl? 3, 2, 1. Caleb, give us your topic.
I think it is Eagles Rams.
It was at this moment that Zach and Joe realized Caleb is dumb.
Eagles Rams. Really?
Okay, so why?
Okay, so why?
The Rams have surprised me more so than anyone. I mean, yes, the Eagles are the team that everyone has basically agreed on. They've got everything going for them, and I think both of you agree that the Eagles are going to the Super Bowl. I think we've already established that, but the Rams are just, I mean, Todd Gurley's hot. Jared Goff today threw 3 touchdown passes. Granted, it was against the Giants. So,
Giants don't have that bad of a defense.
true.
They're okay.
That is kind of their whole team now, since Odell, rest in peace.
Rip.
Why are you laughing at
Zach's
me?
dying over here.
I really want to interject something.
Oh, jeez. If you
So
tell me,
you said the Eagles Rams.
yeah, if you're going to say that that's impossible, then I'm going to be like, wow, well, I should have looked at that.
Well, if it makes you feel better, it is.
Okay,
Because
good.
the Super Bowl is one NFC and one
I
AFC.
was gonna say, that's something I completely did not even look at in the slightest before Joe said, Caleb, 3, 2, 1, go.
So before we get to the Super Bowl, who wins the NFC Championship?
Yeah,
the
you could
Eagles,
say Eagles,
or the Rams?
Do you want to do top 4 teams then for NFC and AFC? How about who's going to be in the AFC Championship? Who's going to be in the NFC Championship? Okay, so we're more or less going to transition into who are your top 4 teams in the NFL, or basically who's going to be in the AFC Championship, who's going to be the NFC Championship. So let's go ahead and start off with, I think, the one that's the most easily, like the one that everyone can probably agree on. Who's going to be in the NFC Championship? Do we all 3 agree that the Eagles will be in the NFC Championship this year?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, they're solid.
They
Okay.
will have to fall from grace if they're
Right.
not going to make it.
Yeah. Going to be at home for the Eagles because I think that they will be, they will finish off the season at number 1 in the NFC. So they're going to have home field advantage.
Mm-hmm.
Who is going to have to try and take down the Titans from not the Titans as far as the AFC goes, not the team, but the Titans as far as the Eagles are to the NFC? Who's going to have to take them on?
Man,
You're saying
A lot of hesitation.
Are you saying who's going to be the NFC Championship game?
No, yeah, who's gonna face off against the Eagles in the NFC Championship? You guys are hesitating.
Okay. The Rams are hot, but looking over and seeing Carolina, they're still relevant. Seattle, Russell Wilson is pulling his stuff together here recently.
Seattle's offense has made leaps and bounds for sure.
Very true.
Russell Wilson has become sort of the dominant force in that field. He was just garbage these past couple of years as far as just he'd throw 20 passes at most and just barely skirt by with a win. Where they always won on defense was when Seattle.
Also, to be fair, the Saints are playing really well.
yeah.
If they can get their defense together.
Well, see, that's the thing
Hey,
that
they've
I
been
was going to
playing.
argue is right now, NFC playoff picture is Eagles definitely in the NFC Championship game. And then, honestly, I would lean more towards the Saints over the Rams. I think the Rams are young. They're definitely on fire right now. They've got the weapons. Jared Goff is slinging it. Todd Gurley is unfreaking believable when it comes to... The man has more production than anyone in the league, it seems like, besides like Kareem Hunt. But the Saints, their defense has been killer.
Here lately,
Like the past 3 or 4 games, like the Saints defense has been lockdown, shutout defense. So if they can maintain that, which I mean the Saints have not been able to maintain that for years and years and years. They've always been known as the high octane offense, and then just make sure that I can outscore the other guy and won't win. But their defense is holding people to 0. So if they can maintain that, I can definitely see that. With the Rams, I think they're hot. And being hot in the beginning and the middle of the season is not when you want to be hot. You want to be hot at the end of the season when those games really start to count. So what I would like to see, an Eagles-Rams NFC Championship game. I think more realistically, it'll probably be Eagles-Saints because I think that's a lot more sustainable. But Carson Wentz winning a Super Bowl, his second season in the league, that would be cool. I'd love to see Drew Brees go win the Super Bowl. I think that'd be great too.
You guys are totally dropping the Vikings from this playoff.
Absolutely.
No.
Case Keenum, he's not a showstopper.
So then how have they been pulling out wins then?
Well, they've been pulling out wins, but I mean, they've had a pretty easy schedule so far. I mean, their schedule's about to get a lot harder. Plus, I think there's too much volatility at quarterback. You got Case Keenum, you got Sam Bradford, and you got Teddy Bridgewater. And they're talking about Teddy Bridgewater coming back, which is great because last season, while he was there, Teddy was killing it. He was a great quarterback, but I don't know. Right now, they're third in the NFC. So, I mean, they're definitely in the conversation. I just don't think they're going to be in that NFC Championship game.
So are you two in agreement then? Do you think it's going to be more than likely a Saints Eagles NFC Championship game, but what you want to see is
wild
Rams
card
and stuff like that? I sort of agree. I have faith in the Panthers. I think the Panthers can pull out all the stops if they really want to. If Luke Kuechly comes back bigger and better than ever,
True.
He can lead that defense to a better year than they've ever seen since the Super Bowl year. Cam Newton's finally getting his act together from the slump that he was in the beginning of the year. Give them time. I think they could become. They're obviously seriously playoff contending, but I think they could become a serious team that could win a Super Bowl. So I think those four teams that we mentioned, the Saints, the Panthers, the Eagles, and the Rams are like the top ones that you have to really see butting heads. More so the Eagles are going to make it to the end. Who's going to be able to take them down?
And I'd love to bring this up again a couple weeks down the road because with the exception of the Eagles, the NFC is at like a 5-way tie for second place right now. It is a tight race. But yeah, I think we're all pretty much in agreement. It's Philly and more than likely the Saints.
So shift gears. Let's go to an easier topic, or maybe it's a little bit harder. AFC. Let's just start with the obvious question: yes or no? Patriots in the AFC Championship. Do you think it's going to happen?
I put him in there just because Tom Brady's Tom Brady. He's the best in the game
everyone
right now.
Everyone says Tom Brady is the guy when it comes to the Patriots.
He plays better from behind. He gets mad and he just
I hate
there is never a time that you look at Tom Brady. He has less than 2 minutes left and has to score a touchdown, and you're like, not today, because he's like, yes, today. Get off my field.
That's one of the things I've really not liked about the NBA for like the past 3 or 4 seasons is this whole talk about super teams. The Golden State Warriors and the Cleveland Cavaliers. Like, we know they're going to be in the championship game, so the regular season doesn't matter, the postseason doesn't matter because they're going to be there. Yep. And I hate that because it takes all the unpredictability out of it. I love the fact that like 6 weeks into the NFL season, this season, there was not a single undefeated team. Everybody had already lost a game. Everybody thought that the Kansas City Chiefs were going to be the team to beat this year, and they're 6-3. They've lost 3 games, and 1 or 2 of them was, a shock. They shouldn't have lost those games, but they did, and that's something that's making this season very, very interesting.
And don't get me wrong, I hate those dynasties. I hate the Bill Belichick Brady era. I hate it. It's very annoying. It's been keeping the Titans down for too long. Speaking of, after tonight's loss, Titans are 5-3. The Chiefs are 6-3. I would like to put the Titans up there. I mean, they played the Ravens today. They were supposed to get beaten badly, and they showed up. They won. I think they won by 3, but I mean, I'll take a win. Jacksonville is also 5-3. I don't see the Bills doing anything. You lost to the Jets, man. You lost
Jets had a curve. They were supposed to be one of the most terrible teams in the league, and then they had this curve where they just started to get better and better. I think we could potentially see even a wild card run out of that team. Now that's like fingers crossed. Like let's throw a magical dice on the ground, lottery ticket kind of thing. But maybe. But when it comes to the AFC Championship, I think an easy contender for that is the very obvious Steelers. I think the Steelers have an offense that is absolutely ridiculous how they run. How they have a running back like Le'Veon Bell.
Oh my gosh,
they
yes.
have a receiving core like now Juju Smith-Schuster and Antonio Brown. Not only that, their quarterback is finally deciding, you know what, I'm not going to be just this guy who had one good year when I was a rookie and that's all. I can carry a team too, and he's going to do it. Like their offense is more explosive than I've ever seen before.
Yeah.
Ridiculous, in my opinion, just how they've been doing.
Yeah. Yeah. I like the Steelers for the AFC Championship game. I like the Chiefs for the AFC Championship game. I mean, like I said earlier, they've lost some games that, in my opinion, they shouldn't have lost.
Lost tonight to the Cowboys.
They lost tonight to the Cowboys, but, you know, if they can all get on the same page and get back to just executing at a high level like they did the first 5-6 games of the season, 4 or 5 games of the season, there's no reason that they couldn't be right there in that conversation. Alex Smith, you know, the Chiefs drafted a rookie quarterback that they're grooming, like, what's it, Patrick Mahomes or whatever his name is.
I don't even remember his name.
Is going to be, like, they want him to be their quarterback of the future.
But they told Alex Smith, put up or shut up. Like,
yeah, exactly. And he's putting up.
Yeah.
You know, Alex Smith has yet to throw an interception in this season, which is
300 some odd passes.
Yeah, which is amazing.
And what the heck happened with Kareem Hunt coming out of nowhere as well?
Yeah.
Who would have ever expected
Yeah.
a man like Kareem Hunt to appear in that roster?
Right, yeah, Kareem Hunt, and then you got Tyreek Hill, who is an amazing wide receiver. You got Travis Kelce, who's the second best tight end in the league, and he's a monster.
Their offense is stellar. I think Kansas City's defense is where they're
That's-
slightly lackluster.
Yeah, and they've got some good, you know, they got some
they've got some good
playmakers
players.
on defense, but it is definitely the weaker end of, you know,
If anything
their
keeps
team.
them out of a Super Bowl run, it'll be their defense.
Right. And, you know, same thing can be said about the Steelers. I mean, the Steelers, you know, back in the day, they were the steel curtain, you know, they couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
But that was a long time ago. And the Steelers' defense, I think, is much better this season than it was last season. But it still has plenty of holes in it.
Yeah, there's no Seahawks in this AFC division right now where they're getting carried by their defense.
No,
which
not
is
at
what
all.
I think is really interesting to compare and contrast to, because you have a team like the Seahawks that can get carried by their defense in that regard, but every single AFC top team right now is just outscoring their opponents by a large amount.
Yeah, and that's pretty much how, like, all of those games are, is that there's no there's defense, but it's not like, wow, look at all these defensive plays that are being made. And I think that's what's going to keep the Patriots out of the AFC Championship game, is the fact that their defense is bad.
They had a great defense last year. Heck, look how they came back last year. That was insane. I don't know what happened this year.
Yeah.
Well, what they did differently, they didn't change any head coach or any sort of coaching position for that matter. I don't know what really threw them off. But they had a stellar defense last year. I don't know how it was able to be done this year. And Bill Belichick is one of those guys that focuses a lot on defense, which is very interesting to me that he has such an offensive-oriented team now compared to the 2001 Patriots, the one that won the Super Bowl for the first time for them. I have like this movie that I watched where like they were the defensive team. They were the Seahawks of the AFC during that year that they won, because their defense shut people out, and it was they'd win games by just field goals just because they kept shutting people out.
Right.
And it was just really cool to see.
Yeah.
So seeing this new thing where like Tom Brady is carrying that team, it's really interesting to me. And especially the whole scope of the league changing, and just in general how it's no longer defensive oriented. You can't be defensive oriented unless you're the Seahawks, which is so strange.
And their defense isn't even that good this year. Something weird has happened. I don't know if they just finally figured out the defense, but I mean, they lost to the Redskins today in Seattle. How do you lose to the Redskins in Seattle? And it wasn't a high-scoring game, but they just, you know, they gave up the points.
Right. And the Redskins they're good this year. I would like to argue that they are playoff material. It's just Seattle's defense is not what it was however many years ago whenever they
Even 2
shut
years ago.
Peyton Manning out in the Super Bowl. That being said, Russell Wilson is playing really hot. I don't think Seattle's making a too big of a playoff bid this year, though.
But, so, AFC Championship game.
But do you want to just go ahead and go around a circle? Let's just like say our picks for it. AFC, NFC. So AFC, I'm gonna go with Patriots as as my top contender. Like I think they're gonna make it, and then I think the Steelers are going to make it. And I think just as an add-on, I think the Patriots will have home field advantage because I think they're gonna finish off the year stronger than the Steelers.
Yeah.
What do you think, Zach?
I'm gonna say Steelers, Chiefs, the Steelers with home field advantage.
I'm going to go Pats, Titans.
Right from those Titans.
Tighten up!
You never
Titans
know.
with home
You
field
never know.
advantage.
That team could pull something out.
This is also the team that almost lost to the Browns.
I know, but lots of teams almost lose to 32nd teams in the league. There are times where it happens.
I'm sorry,
I would
but
like to
that
point
did not impress me. I was like,
The
how do you
Steelers
almost
lost to the
lose
Colts
Browns?
this year already.
Yeah.
I don't even know who the Patriots' 2 losses are.
Anything
Kansas
can
City's
happen.
The
loss.
Chiefs.
Anything can happen, honestly.
Right.
And that's the beauty in this season is that we don't know. Like there's more volatility in it than ever before.
Mhm.
Okay, so out of your AFC Championship, who goes Super Bowl?
Pats.
Yeah.
I'm going to say Chiefs.
Pats.
Pats.
You're wrong. All right.
Okay.
Brady needs a 6th ring.
No, he doesn't.
He doesn't need your
All right.
6th ring. You're right.
NFC. Let's go ahead and start with Caleb now. NFC, Caleb, top 2 contenders. Who's going to be?
Eagles. I'm sticking with the Saints.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to say Eagles, Saints, Eagles with home field advantage.
Yep.
I'm going to go ahead and say Eagles, Hawks, Eagles with home field advantage.
I think the Eagles go to the Super Bowl too.
I also think the Eagles go to the
Yep.
Super Bowl. All right. Sounds good, everybody.
Yep.
Okay, well, that was our podcast for today. Thank you for listening to our But That's Okay podcast, episode 3.
But
We did-
that's okay.
NFL.
This is our NFL edition, I guess you could say. We all just really had this passion for the NFL today, I guess, because it's Sunday. We all love our fantasy football. We all love talking about this football stuff. Please leave a like, subscribe down below, and, come to us and say if you enjoyed our podcast. But if you didn't, just always remember, but that's okay. Bye, guys.